What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today I thought I would do a fun little video. I've been trying to update my collection videos. I did my 4K collection, Steelbook collection, Scream Factory, Shout Factory collection. I thought I would do my entire A24 collection. I'm probably not going to do my entire Blu-ray collection, or at least anytime soon, because that would be like a 3 or 4 hour video. But yeah, I'm going to do my entire A24 collection, but I'm going to do it in a little bit of a different kind of a way. I'm going to rank the A24 titles in my collection that I have seen, which I do own 38 A24 titles, and I have not seen 5 of them. So I've seen 33 out of the 38 A24 titles that I own. So I'm going to go over those, and we're going to go over the titles I've seen. There's also a number of A24 films that I have seen but do not own yet as well. So I'm not going to include those in the ranking. So only the ones that I own and that I have seen am I going to rank. So yeah, excited to get into this. Excited to talk about A24. It is definitely one of my favorite production labels. I just think they're doing some of the most interesting work in film nowadays. Even though some of the movies might not hit with me, might not land with me, I might not enjoy as much as others, but they're always interesting. They're always thought-provoking. They always get you talking. You're always talking about the latest A24 films. So yeah, when we're talking about some of these like higher ones up in the 30s and the higher 20s, I might seem a little negative about A24, but as we get lower, I promise very quickly it's going to turn, and we're going to be talking about some movies that I just really love. So first and foremost though, guys, I got to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber to the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more great content. I do tons of stuff on this channel, mostly centered around the world of physical media. Do 4K and Blu-ray reviews. I do collection hauls like this, unboxing videos, just the Physical Media Report every single Monday, where I cover all the latest and greatest news, updates in the world of physical media. I do Blu-ray hunting videos, just all kinds of live streams, just all kinds of content on this channel every single day. So I'd definitely appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Also, be sure to like this video and comment down below. I need to know, what are some of your favorite A24 films? You can give me your top 5, your top 10. Hell, you can give me all the A24 films you've ever seen. Rank them for me. I don't care what you guys do. So we're just going to have some fun here talking about A24, showing off my A24 collection. I do love collecting, as you'll see as we go through the A24 films when they first come out. So a lot of these I have slipcovers for, and it's because I like to get them all with the slipcovers. I just like how uniform it looks on the shelves. Obviously, I do have some without the slips that I've gotten later on. And yeah, let's get into it. We're going to talk about some ones that I haven't seen right here. And come on. I really wanted to watch this before I did this ranking, but I haven't got a chance to do so. I heard nothing but great things about this movie. So come on. I know you guys are thinking it. Come on, Ken. You haven't seen Come On yet? Come on. What are you thinking? Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I heard Joaquin Phoenix is great in it. Also, A Most Violent Year. I need to check this one out. I heard tons of great things about it. It's got Oscar Isaac, Jessica Chastain. I'm sure it's absolutely fantastic. Albert Brooks is in this movie. So yeah, like I said, sure, it's a fantastic movie. I just haven't seen A Most Violent Year yet. 2 Robert Pattinson films that I really need to watch. This one I bought with every intention of watching, but then I started to hear like stuff about it being super boring, and it's like 2 hours long. So I kind of put it off, and I keep putting it off, and I haven't watched High Life yet, but I need to watch High Life at some point. And then I also got The Rover that I haven't seen yet, and I've heard tons of great things about this. I heard that Robert Pattinson is great in it. I just need to watch it. I'm pretty sure it's got Guy Pearce in it as well. And Saint Maud, this is another one that I really wanted to watch before I did this ranking. Heard tons of great things about. This one came out, I think, last November, and it was only like $11, so I was so happy to get this one with the slipcover. But yeah, heard tons of great things about it. I just haven't got a chance to check it out yet. So those are the 5 that I haven't seen. So going into the full collection, this is 33 A24 films. So we're going to rank them. We're going to go from my least favorite to my favorite. So like I said, we're going to start off a little bit negative here. And then we're going to work our way up. We're going to get a whole lot more positive. We're going to get some of my favorite films of all time when we get to the top. But right now we got to talk about Under the Skin. And I really don't want to talk about Under the Skin. It is my number 33. And it is probably my least favorite A24 film overall. And it's honestly probably one of my least favorite movies of all time. And the only reason that it's in the collection is because I got it with a slipcover, I think at Half Price Books for like $6. And it's just uniform with the other ones. I just have to keep it because it's A24, and I just feel like I have to keep it in the collection. I honestly don't see a world where I like this movie at any point in my life. I just think it's disgusting. I think it's just one of the ugliest movies ever made, both like visually and just like the themes in the movie itself, the subject matter, just some of the grossest stuff I've ever seen on film. The scene with the baby at the beach, I can't get over it. I hate it. I hate this whole movie. If you say you like it, look, here's the thing. And I'm not saying this to be a jerk or anything like that. If you say you like this movie and you think it's great, it's honestly probably just because Scarlett Johansson's naked in it and you like watching that. That's the only redeeming quality to this film that I can think of. And I mean, even that's okay. All right, I'm not the biggest Scarlett Johansson fan, to be honest. She's good in some stuff. But I hate this movie so much. Oh my God, it's so bad. But Under the Skin's my 33 by a mile. Like, we'll get into some other movies like right here. One that I really don't like either. But there are things about it that I like. This just has no redeeming quality. So like by 10,000 miles is my least favorite A24 film. I gotta show it again. I'm sorry. Under the Skin. Oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad. I know so many people that are probably gonna say in the comments, and it's okay. Film's subjective. Everybody thinks about it differently. I know so many people are going to say in the comments right now, you'll probably just shut off this video after I just insulted Under the Skin and your good taste in film. But I know you're going to comment down below that it's a masterpiece. All I ask is don't. I just don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Comment about something else. We got 32 other movies to go through. On the Rocks, that is my number 32. This movie is number 32 because it's just boring. And it's got Bill Murray in it. And to have Bill Murray in your movie and be this boring is a crime. It's also got Marlon Wayans in it. So, you know, Rashida Jones, I like her and stuff. I like her in I Love You Man, Parks and Rec and stuff like that. So, again, I bought this. It was $11 just to add to the A24 collection. Number 32. It's just boring. It's not like terrible or anything. It's just boring. The Humans, another movie that's just boring. It's just a boring movie with like nothing. It's just like nothingness. Just like a family that's like super uninteresting. They try to throw in an interesting plot point like towards the end of the movie. But it's like by then nobody gives a shit about this family or these humans. So Humans is number 31. I'm sorry for all the human fans out there. And look, number 30. This might be another hot take. I don't like Midsommar that much. I can see maybe someday, unlike Under the Skin, I can see maybe someday I enjoy this, but this is Ari Aster's follow-up to Hereditary, which we're going to talk about way down this list later on, was an absolute misfire for me. This felt like, to me, not like he was just trying to remake Hereditary or take all the familiar beats from Hereditary and put it like a different skin on it, put it in a different setting, different characters, different situations. But it also just felt like a parody of Hereditary. Like some of the scenes in this movie, like in the beginning where she's like crying and breaking down because somebody in her family died, it was so reminiscent of Toni Collette, but the way that they shot it and did it, just it felt like they were just like making fun of it almost. It's like, this is what we did in Hereditary, so let's do it again here. Characters are so unlikable. I get it, maybe they're supposed to be unlikable, but it's like you have to have something to latch onto in these types of movies, and I just didn't care. It is a subpar remake of The Wicker Man, just like stylistically and thematically, and just the story beats are similar. Again, it feels like a parody of Hereditary. It also feels like a half-assed remake of The Wicker Man, which is so much better than this. I understand people love this movie, and maybe, like I said, maybe one day I'll watch it again and it hits me just right and I like it better. I just don't like this movie. I don't think it's like nearly as smart or intelligent or artistic as some people make it out to be. It really just devolves into this like slasher film in the last 45 minutes, which it just feels half-assed in and of itself, and then it tries to come back around towards the end, and some guy gets burnt in a bear suit in a tent, and it's like going back and forth. She's wearing a flower. I don't get, people are humping in a tent and butts are getting pushed into stuff, and I don't like this movie. I'm sorry. Florence Pugh, I'm not a big fan of either. You can probably guess I'm not a huge fan of Black Widow, the movie, because I'm not a big fan of Scarlett Johansson, and I'm not a big fan of Florence Pugh. I like to call her Florence Pugh, and then I hold my nose when I say it. Overrated is all I can say. She is so overrated as an actress. Let's see. Let's go to Tusk. That is my number 29. I think that this is appropriately placed. I remember watching it. It's very weird. The ending is very weird and awkward. It's got Justin Long in it. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't think it was that great. Like, it started off being like a pretty good thriller from what I remember. It's probably been about 8 years since I've seen this movie. I think it came out in 2014. I probably saw it then. But yeah, it's okay. Justin Long's pretty good in it. Everybody's pretty good in it. It didn't go in the directions I necessarily, wanted it to go. Like, it was very thrilling, I feel like, for the first 30 minutes, and then it just kind of gets kind of goofier as it goes. And, that's Kevin Smith, and he really goes off the rails with Yoga Hoser, which is supposed to be like a sequel to this. He was supposed to do a third one, but, he probably just said the hell with it after this one sucked so bad. But yeah, it's okay. It's not terrible. I need to rewatch it again, to be honest, but I couldn't get it any higher than 29. Let's go into 28. First Reform. This is a movie directed by Paul Schrader, the writer of Taxi Driver and also Raging Bull. I'm pretty sure worked with Scorsese. He also directed an Exorcist film. This to me it's okay. Again, this is another one. Maybe I'll watch it a little bit later on down the line, and I'll think it's great, and I'll think it's a masterpiece. But I heard a lot of great things about this movie, and for it being written by Paul Schrader, I'm just disappointed. I just didn't think the story really went anywhere all that interesting, and by the end, I was just like, what the hell is going on? And I just didn't think it made any sense, and I just didn't think it come together. It just thematically, just the themes in this movie, just I don't know. It's a beautifully made movie, beautifully shot. But I just can't get with this one. First Reformed is number 28. Another one that might be a little divisive because some of his other, or at least one of his other films is way further down. But Yorgos Lanthimos, The Lobster. This is another one that maybe I need to rewatch. It's got Rachel Weisz. I love Rachel Weisz. Colin Farrell. I love Colin Farrell. It's got John C. Reilly in it. I love him as well. It just might not have been the right mindset when I watched this movie. Maybe I just didn't understand. I feel like this is one of the very first A24 movies I ever watched. I don't know, I just feel like it started off really interesting. I like the premise, I like the concept, I liked where it was going, and it just didn't move. It just didn't go anywhere all that interesting. The plot didn't really develop, and by the end I was just like, it just could have been better. Like, that's how I felt. It's very weird. It's very surreal. I appreciate that. Again, this is one I feel like I need to rewatch. I might like it a little bit better on the rewatch, but as of right now, 27, is that where we're at? 27 is as high as I can get it. This is another one. Again, we're getting into movies now that I legitimately think are good. I don't think any of these are bad, but I have to rank them some spot in some place. So The Lighthouse is coming in at number 26. So again, this is a Robert Eggers movie following up The Witch, which is one of my favorite films of the whole entire 21st century. One of my favorite horror films of all time. I love The Witch. You're going to see how much I love The Witch as we go. So we go into this one, and I'm thinking, like, from the trailers, I knew there was going to be a little bit of a comedic aspect to it, just from the trailers, but also I thought that it was just being a little bit weirder, a little bit more off-putting with what it was trying to put out there. So I still thought that this was going to be a really scary horror movie, kind of, comparable to The Witch, and that's not really what you get with this one. This is much more like fantasy driven. There are horror elements there, but it's also like funny and comedic. Like Willem Dafoe's like walking around like farting and stuff. So it was an experience. I drove like 45 minutes to an art house theater in my city. This was back when I wanted to see everything in the theater. Like, I am not that way now at all, but I had to see everything in the theater. So I drove like 45 minutes to the only place in the city that was showing it. And I sat down, I watched it. I was all ready to be spooked out of my mind, to be scared. Give me those witch vibes. And I got The Lighthouse. And again, it's a well-made movie. The sound design is incredible. That's the one thing I did notice in the theater. I guess it's good I saw it in the theater because I did appreciate that. But just the fog, just like the lighthouse, like fog horns blaring all around me, like it was awesome. And also, interestingly enough, if you go back on my channel, like way back, I'm talking like first 5 or 6 videos, I came home from watching The Lighthouse and I reviewed it on this channel. It was 2019. One of the very first reviews. It might be the first review on the channel of me just talking about a new movie I saw in theaters. So go back and watch that. It's terrible, but go back and watch that review and you'll see my like visceral like first reaction response to The Lighthouse. Getting into my number 26 is It Comes at Night. I remember enjoying this one. It's like psychological horror. A lot of people complained about it because it wasn't really as advertised. I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't know anything about this movie going into it, so I didn't have any expectations at all. And I just thought it was a really kind of creepy psychological horror film with some, you know, zombie elements involved in there as well. It's like a virus situation going on. I don't know. I thought this was a cool movie. I enjoyed this one. So that was 25. Now we're going to get into 24. And this is Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird. So I do enjoy Lady Bird. I think it's a well-made movie. It's a good movie. It's got some good performances. Saoirse Ronan's fantastic in it. You know, she was nominated for an Oscar. You got Laurie Metcalf. You got Lucas Hedges, Timothy Chalamet, the It boys nowadays, I feel like, are more so Timothy Chalamet. I don't feel like Lucas Hedges has really broken out like he has. But yeah, this is a good movie. Good coming-of-age movie. I was expecting to be a little bit more emotionally affected by the story here, but I just wasn't. Again, I don't know what it was. Like, all the pieces were there. I just wasn't affected by this movie like I wanted to be. And then comparable to another female coming-of-age story that came out around the same time, Edge of 17, with Haley Steinfeld. I just connected to that movie so much more, and I just thought it was a much more relatable coming-of-age story. Not that I would know anything about, you know, coming of age as a teenage girl, but you guys know what I mean. It just felt more relatable as like a teenager. So Lady Bird's good, but it's like the artistic version of Edge of 17. I just related to the other one more, but I like the movie. 24. 23 is The Green Knight. So I watched this one last year. I enjoyed The Green Knight. This is another one I might want to go back and rewatch again. I really did like this movie. Visually, it's one of the most stunning A24 films. Like, they really went for it with this film. Like, it has that like big budget, like fantasy driven feel to it. And I don't think that we get that a lot with the A24s. In fact, I think this is the only fantasy film that A24 has ever done. So it would be cool if they would do more of it, but the artwork on this is so sick. Like, it's so awesome. I love the poster of this movie. I was super excited for this one. David Lowery as a director, you know, I really appreciate it. There's another film in here that we're going to talk about again that he did. And yeah, The Green Knight is good. It's a good story, and it's one that I probably want to rewatch again, but a good period piece story with some cool effects works and sequences in it as well. Mid-90s is going to be my 22. And yeah, mid-90s, directed by Jonah Hill. This is the only film directed by Jonah Hill. I've been waiting for his follow-up, and I enjoyed this. It's got that nice 90s setting to it. You don't see a lot of movies set in the 90s, I don't feel like. I feel like everybody's mine in the 80s right now, or at least for the past few years. But this one's set in the 90s, so you got that 90s nostalgia. People skateboard, people playing Nintendo 64. So I kind of felt, you know, those feelings from my childhood. It's a good movie, tells a good story. And it's got some good performances. So mid-90s coming in at my number 22. Coming in at my number 21, we'll do a little bit of a review here because this one just came out, and that is X. So X is my number 21. I enjoyed X. I appreciate X as the kind of throwback 70s slasher kind of, you know, Texas Chainsaw light movie. It's a dirty movie. It's like a porno in the first 45 minutes, and then it's a bunch of old people killing kids in the last 45 minutes. Me and my wife are going to review this on our channel. We might have already, we might not have yet. I don't know, so I will post that to my community tab when we get that review out so you can see my full thoughts on this movie. But I enjoyed this one. I do overall think that it was a bit too hyped. I was really looking forward to this. From everybody's reviews and for what everybody made this movie sound like, it's just one of the more original, like fresh horror movies that's also a throwback that's come out in the past like 5 years or something. It's not really that original. It's not really that fresh. The characters aren't necessarily the most fleshed out. And I just don't think the subject matter, to be honest, is that good. The story's not that good. And nothing about this movie really feels like must see or like one of the greatest horror movies of the past 5 years. It's just, everything feels kind of average, in my opinion. So I know a lot of people love it, but it's just average to me. And it's good. It's a good horror movie. I'll enjoy going back and rewatching this one, having a good time with it, but it's not great. I don't think I could ever call this movie great. So X is my number 21, but I do enjoy it. It's a number 21. I mean, come on. The Farewell coming in at number 20. I really enjoy this movie. I think it was absolutely robbed of an Oscar. Like, you got Awkwafina in this movie, giving her best performance. For all the people that give Awkwafina crap as an actress and just think she's like super one note and not funny, like she gives a legitimately great dramatic performance in this movie. And I would absolutely recommend anybody, if you're not an Awkwafina fan, watch this one. She's totally different as a performer in this film, and I think she should have got some credit for it. Should have got nominated for Best Actress. So this is a really great movie that ends in a way that you really don't expect, and when it ends in the way that it does, it makes you happy. So I like this movie a lot. It's a good movie. Coming in at number 20. Number 19, we got Lamb. So this was the one that I was supposed to buy in 4K. I bought this edition that came out at A24 and I accidentally bought the Blu-ray because A24's website when it comes to buying 4Ks and Blu-rays is just so wonky and weird, and I didn't get it right, and I got the Blu-ray and I still haven't, bought the 4K or returned this or anything. I'll just stick with this for now, I guess, but I really enjoy Lamb a lot. It's very weird, but by the time I got to the end, I was surprisingly taken on this journey. I was very emotionally affected. Like the performance of the lamb in this movie like really got me. It tugs at the heartstrings a little bit, and I enjoyed this movie a lot. It goes into some wild directions, and something was actually spoiled for me because they showed an image on the inside of this case that I unboxed before I watched it, which I shouldn't have done. But yeah, this is a very weird movie. It's out there, but it's also tugs at the heartstrings a little bit. It's a bit emotional. So I do enjoy Lamb. That's coming in at my number 19. So coming in at my number 18 is a movie that I also really enjoy, but for very different reasons than most A24 films. This is actually, like, I always forget about this one when I'm talking about, like, they don't make good comedies anymore. But this is actually a legitimately good comedy that's come out in the past few years, and it's The Disaster Artist. This movie cracks me up every time. Movie that's based on the making of the classic, like, so bad it's bad, but also good movie, The Room, which I haven't seen, but I don't feel like I need to see The Room after seeing this because they actually show parts of the movie, and I feel like I've seen the movie The Room through this movie, which is actually just a testament to how well done this movie is. But yeah, it's got some really great performances. It's got James Franco in it, which I know he's kind of been taken out. He's been canceled in Hollywood or whatever. He's not really in the scene. Him and Seth Rogen having a falling out and everything. He's got his brother Dave Franco. Seth Rogen's in this movie. I think it was their last collaboration together, but this movie is great. Super funny. Again, it's basically the making of The Room, the story of that, but it's super funny. Again, James Franco is so great as Tommy Wiseau, and he also directed this movie as well. So, he's acting, he's directing. It's awesome. I think he wrote it too. But it's really funny. I love this one. This is one that I'll go back and watch every now and then, just get a chuckle out of. So, a legitimately good comedy that's come out in the past few years. So you got to give it credit for that. The Disaster Artist is my number 18. So let's get into my number 17. Really good movie that, I heard great things about it, but when I watched it, I was like, wow, this is legitimately great, and I do really appreciate and like this movie. And it's Minari, this movie starring Steven Yeun. This is easily Steven Yeun's best performance. But yeah, this is really just a sweet story about a family trying to survive and make it. But the grandma is great in this movie. Her and the little boy have good interactions, fun interactions together. It's just a really good like family drama story with some great performances. Again, that might sound boring, but it's a good movie. I absolutely recommend Minari. It was nominated for Best Picture, so got to give it credit for that too. One of the very few A24 films that actually got nominated for Best Picture. They just won't nominate A24 films for some reason, which we'll get into more here in a second. Getting into my number 16 is a, kind of like a teen coming of age romance that kind of may remind people of like The Fault in Our Stars or Walk to Remember or The Notebook or some of those Nicholas Sparks novels. But this is The Spectacular Now. It's got Miles Teller in it, Shailene Woodley. I wasn't really that big on Shailene Woodley. Like, I saw her in that show she did on ABC Family. I can't even remember it, like way back in the day. My wife made me watch it. And I always just thought she was like, not a very good actress. Just like very hammy and cheesy and over the top. But this movie really sold me on her. She's a really great actress in this. Miles Teller, one of his first movies. I think this is the movie he made like the year before Whiplash. It is a teen drama movie, so you do have that like teen angst and coming of age and stuff in it. But I do really like this movie a lot. It really connects and it's really emotional, and it's really impactful, and I enjoy this one. So The Spectacular Now is my number 16. So let's get into my top 15, I think we're in right now. The top 15 A24s. I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit. I don't want this to be too long. But look, let's talk about Red Rocket. I enjoy Red Rocket. This is my number 15. It is a fun movie directed by the same person that did The Florida Project, which we might be talking about here in a second as well. Really cool cover on this one with a donut right there. It's got, trying to see who was in this, but Simon Rex, I think is his name, is great in this movie. It's a fun movie. It's a real movie. It's a raw movie. And just everything about this film, just the way that he shoots films, just feels like real life, and it feels like you're there, or it doesn't necessarily feel like you're there, but it feels like people that you've met in your real life before, like places that you would never want to actually live, situations that you wouldn't want to be in. But there's people in this movie that I feel like I have met before in my real life. And it's because they use real people off the streets to perform in these films. And I think it actually makes them better and really adds to that cinematic quality of what they're going for, the vision of this movie. So Red Rocket is a good movie. Now, there's some sensitive subject matter in this movie to some people. They don't exactly portray the lead character in the best light. I mean, he's super likable and he's just a fun character, but you can't really root for him. I just love the characters that Sean Baker draws with these movies. Again, we'll get into it again in a second, but Red Rocket's awesome. That comes in at my number 15. Good Time is my number 14. This is the example. This is the thing I'll tell people right now. I told them for years leading up to the Batman coming out. If you don't think that Robert Pattinson can pull off the Batman performance, watch Good Time. He is fantastic in this movie. He has such a dark edge to it. Safdie Brothers film, which we'll also talk about another one of theirs here in a second as well. I'm really teasing, my top 10 here, but Good Time's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, check it out. My number 14. My number 13 may surprise some people, but it's First Cow. I really love this movie a lot. If you look at this, just the title would put you to sleep. It seems boring, First Cow. It's a really great movie. It's kind of what I would say, it's kind of a Western. It's kind of a Western set back in the 1800s. And it's essentially a heist movie. They are heisting and stealing milk to make biscuits that they're selling off to make money off of. And, trouble ensues from there because they're getting the milk from other people's cows that are not there. So it's a really interesting and original story that I've never seen before. And I just think that the characters and the chemistry that they have with each other, the two leads in this movie, is just really solid and really good. And I enjoy this one. It's really entertaining. It's far more entertaining than you think it would be with a title like First Cow. So check this one out if you've been sleeping on it. It's a really good movie, and it comes in at my number 13, which is a pretty damn high spot right here. I put it in front of some heavy hitters. So I think it's pretty good. We got 8th Grade right here at my number 12. Love this movie. We talked about another female coming-of-age story with Lady Bird. This one nails it in such a super raw and realistic way. Like, you feel these moments and struggles that she's going through in this movie. It is super uncomfortable. It's super awkward. And it feels so much like it felt to be an 8th grader that it's not even funny. So definitely check out 8th Grade if you haven't seen it. I love this movie. Directed by Bo Burnham, which he did that, comedy special on Netflix. He's a comedian. I hope he makes more movies like this. I love this movie. It is definitely one of the best A24 films at my number 11. So we have arrived, guys. Are we at my top 10 yet? No, that was my number 12. But 8th Grade was my number 12. I'm all messed up here. 8th Grade was my number 12. Let's get into my number 11. That's A Ghost Story. Another David Lowery film, the same guy that directed The Green Knight. I think this film is awesome. Like, it really starts off very slow, but it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. And if you can get through that 15-minute long scene of Rooney Mara eating a pie and you get to the end, the last 20 minutes are so incredibly rewarding, and it really recontextualizes the entire film for you. In the entire experience, it just enriches it so much. So I love A Ghost Story. Casey Affleck's great in this movie, although he's under a sheet most of it. Rooney Mara is fantastic. The cast is great. But like I said, the last 15 minutes, absolutely mind-blowing. Blew me away. I love A Ghost Story. That's my number 11. Let's get into my number 10. So we're in my top 10 now. I got to talk about one of the most underrated movies. This is one of the most underrated movies in the past 10 years. One of the most underrated A24 films. Literally nobody talks about this movie. It had some of the best performances of 2019. It was one of the best movies of 2019. Nobody talks about this film. It wasn't nominated for an Oscar. It absolutely should have been. This is Waves. This is such an emotional, heart-wrenching, just gut-punching journey through this family and their life and some of the stuff that they have to go through. I love the way that it plays out. Like, it shows the story from like so many different angles, and it's really like a movie that feels like 3 parts, but it's all telling like the same story. And it's so emotional. There's scenes in this movie that just make you cry. Like, you can't help it. Sterling K. Brown, this is easily the best performance I've seen from him. I love him. I know he's a big actor on This Is Us, but I don't watch that show. You got the girl from Euphoria in this movie. I don't know what her name is, but she's up there on the cover. You also got Kelvin Harrison Jr. I think is his name. I'm trying to see. Kelvin Harrison Jr. is so good in this movie. Just the journey that he has to go through is just incredible. Like I said, truly heartbreaking. So Lucas Hedges also shows up in this. He shows up in a lot of A24 films, but this movie's great. If you haven't seen it, check out Waves. My number 10. Getting into my number 9, this is the other Yorgos Lanthimos film. This is The Killing of a Sacred Deer. This movie is so weird and out there. If you want to know why Barry Keoghan got cast as the Joker in the Batman, which I'm pretty sure it's him in the scene at the end. And they also did that scene on YouTube, and he's probably going to be the Joker in the upcoming films. If you want to know why Barry Keoghan got cast as the Joker in the Batman, watch this movie. He is demented and twisted and deranged. The subject matter in this is just super out there and very weird, kind of like The Lobster, but just even more so. But I love it. I get drawn into it every single time. The performances are so good. Nicole Kidman's great in this movie. Colin Farrell's great. Barry Keoghan, like I said, I love the kids in the movie. It's such an off-putting movie, but it's so good. I love The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Definitely check that one out if you haven't. But be warned, it is weird. Let's see. Getting into my number 8. This is Sean Baker's other movie, The Florida Project. Great, great, great movie. I love this movie. It's like set in Florida. It's at a hotel that's like right across the street from Disney World. So you're kind of showing the differences between, you know, being like super poor and then the regular families that get to take their kids to Disney World, and this little girl that wants to go to Disney World, but she can't because her family's not in that position to take her. But the mom's like, you know, she's definitely not perfect. She's way out there. She's whoring around in the hotel. She's just doing as she pleases. But her performance in this movie, Brooklyn Pierce's performance in this movie is one of the best child performances in any movie. Willem Dafoe is awesome in this film as the hotel manager owner. You know, he has some great interactions with the mom in this movie. The mom, I'm trying to get her name, but I think this was the first movie she was ever in. And like I said, Sean Baker just has a knack for just grabbing these people off the street that's never been in anything, putting them in his movie. It just feels very raw. Like these characters feel like those characters because they really are those characters in real life. And I think it just makes the movie all that more better. So The Florida Project is definitely awesome. You got to check it out. That is my number 8. So getting into, am I here yet? Yeah, my number 8. So we're here at my number 7. This was in my top 2 or 3 of 2021. Zola, I absolutely loved. I've talked about this movie all the time, but I just love this movie so much. Riley Keough is so good in this film. This is so hilarious. This is one that's, it's a comedy, but it's also a crime thriller. At the same time, it's just a lot of different things in one. It is so hilarious. I crack up every time I watch this movie. Her accent in this film is like dead on, spot on. She is so good. Taylor Page is so good in this movie. You got Coleman Domingo is awesome in this film as like the pimp crime lord boss. Nicholas Braun from Succession's in this. He's so goofy, over the top, making shmoney, man. We making shmoney. Like, he's so good in this movie. I love this movie. There's some people that's like, really? Like Zola? It's not very good. I think it's one of the best A24 films they've ever done. I love Zola so much. That is my number 7. So we are getting into some real heavy hitters right here, guys. We're going really long with this video. I'm going to try to get through these as quick as possible, but Hereditary, I absolutely loved. I've talked about this in a recent video. I think my Lionsgate recommendations, but I just think it's one of the scariest films of the 21st century. Toni Collette deserved an Oscar for this performance. It's like up there with Ellen Burstyn in The Exorcist. It's that good. And I think this is such a great movie. It's so scary. It really it gets scarier like with every single viewing. I feel like this is one that definitely grows on you as you watch it. One of the best movies of the 21st century, one of the scariest movies in the past 10 years. Absolutely recommend that one. You got Uncut Gems is my number 5. I love this movie so much. When I saw it in theaters, I was like, my stomach was in knots. The last 30 minutes are just so intense. Adam Sandler, God, Adam Sandler is so great in this movie. I love Adam Sandler. This feels like kind of like a crime thriller, like a Martin Scorsese film. I think Martin Scorsese produced it. This is a Safdie brothers movie, the same people that did Good Time. Adam Sandler, this movie, it makes you mad that all Adam Sandler does is stupid, goofy comedies that go straight to Netflix, because you watch a movie like this and you're like, oh my God, Adam Sandler is capable of a performance like this, and he does all this shitty comedy stuff on Netflix. Like, what is going on in the world? I just want Adam Sandler to do more. He needs to do more with the Safdie brothers, which I actually think he is. I think that was announced a few weeks ago. So Uncut Gems, absolutely fantastic. That's my number 5. Getting into my number 4 is a movie that I don't think a lot of people would have in their top 5 A24s, but I love this movie. I think it has so many layers. It's starring Jake Gyllenhaal, who's just one of my favorite actors of the past 10 years. And that is Enemy. And if you haven't seen Enemy, even if you've seen it once and you didn't get it and you're kind of scratching your head, watch Enemy. And then go on YouTube and watch some of the ending explained videos and just really get into what this movie is doing. Go back and rewatch it again. It grows on you. It keeps growing on you as you start to get what's going on. And it has so many layers, so much depth to this film that I absolutely love it. Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic in this movie. And yeah, I love this movie. I love all the performances in it. I think it's one of the best A24 films, hands down. Enemy is my number 4. One of my favorite films of the past 10 years. I think it was like my number 5 in all of the past 10 years. I love the movie so much. Now let's get into my top 3. We are getting into my top 3. These are some heavy hitters. I love these movies. Moonlight. Moonlight is my number 3. I wasn't very happy when Moonlight won Best Picture over La La Land that year, but now I completely get it and I can completely get behind it. Even though I love La La Land still, this movie is stunning. This is a stunning character portrayal, portrait of a character, of a human being as he goes through his life through 3 different stages: child, teenager, adult, grappling with his own sexuality. It's just such a great movie. It deals with so many important themes and just handles them all so well. Like, no movie handles the themes that this one does like Moonlight. I think Moonlight is a stunning film. I think this is going to absolutely stand the test of time. It is easily, for me, and he's only in like 40 minutes of the movie, but Mahershala Ali's best performance. I love him in this film. I love everybody in this movie. So good. The score in this movie is like one of the best, probably top 3 scores of the past 10 years. I love the score to Moonlight. And yeah, won Best Picture. Like, it is the only A24 film to win Best Picture is Moonlight, and that's my number 3. Let's get in my number 2. This is my favorite horror film of the entire 21st century, and that is The Witch. This is so incredibly scary. I love movies at this point in the game. Been watching horror movies since I was a kid. I love movies like, the movies that come out nowadays scare me, but I love a movie that can actually get under my skin and scare me, and The Witch does. I have a thing about witches. They scare me. They freak me out. The whole Salem witch trials thing. This movie just captured that period piece setting so well. It just pulls everything off so well. Anya Taylor-Joy, fantastic in this film. The whole cast is fantastic. They really, just down to the dialect and how the characters talk to each other, it feels so real and realistic and just really transports you back into that time period. And it's just super eerie and super sinister and very scary. So The Witch is my number 2. Robert Eggers' film. Like I said, he followed this one up with The Lighthouse. So my expectations were high, and that's why The Lighthouse is pretty low on the list. But The Witch is not. That is my number 2. Number 1, guys, you probably know what this one is because I brought it up before and I have not mentioned it yet, but Ex Machina. It is the only movie that I have 2 copies of. This is my number 1 A24 film. I don't see any other movie taking its spot. This movie stunned me to my core when I watched it for the first time. The ending is so out of this world and so awesome. Alicia Vikander is great in this movie. Domhnall Gleeson, Oscar Isaac. The cast is insane. The chemistry between them is insane. This is almost, I can't call this like straight horror because it has such a strong science fiction root to it. But it is kind of scary as well. It's very eerie. It's just the atmosphere in this movie is incredible. Like I said, the performances are awesome. Such a cool science fiction story. I think that this one should, I don't know if it will, but it should absolutely be held in such high regards as an Alien, as a Blade Runner, as a 2001 Space Odyssey, as one of the greatest science fiction films of all time. I think it should be up to that level because it is that damn good. Ex Machina is just one of the best of all time. This one won an Oscar, not for Best Picture, which it should have. It was the best movie of 2015, in my opinion, but for Best Visual Effects. So the visual effects are stunning in this film. Like I said, the setting, it's in like a remote, isolated, like laboratory facility, experimental facility that Oscar Isaac owns. I love everything about this movie. It is so good. Just the feel and the vibes of this film is fantastic. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about it. And like I said, the ending is stunning. I love Ex Machina. Just one of the best. And that is my #1 A24 film. So there you go, guys. That is my entire A24 collection. I ranked them for you guys. I know it was a little unorganized, a little bit too long, but that's how I run things around here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video and let me know in the comment section below, what are some of your favorite A24 films that you ever seen, your top 5, your top 10. You can leave me your top 30 if you've seen that many. If you've seen 50, you can leave that down below as well. But appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are in the description, and we'll see you next time.